Hello everybody and welcome to this live stream update on the Hawaii Kilauea Volcano. How's everybody doing tonight? I hope everybody's great. Things here have been pretty much the same as they were last night. The current eruption at the Kilauea Volcano is still contained to the Halemaumau Crater at the Kilauea Caldera up at the summit. The image on the screen that you're looking at was actually taken from today at about, what was it, 6:22, I think is what the timestamp reads this evening. But what we're going to look at is we're going to look at some of the data, some of the USGS latest information that they've published in their updates, and some imagery that they've also released. So let's go ahead and get started. So if you give me just a moment, I will find the window I'm looking for. Here we go. Okay. Oh, that's not it. That one's the one I'm looking for. But now I'm looking for... Oh, come on. You know, I had this all planned out before I started. Okay, there we go. Alright, on the screen what you're looking at, of course, is the recent earthquakes. There's been 79 in the last 24-hour period, and as you can see, the majority of them are pretty much isolated up at the summit where the current eruption is taking place here in the caldera. But there have been a few down the East Drift Zone, mostly still contained in the upper East Drift Zone here by Mauna Ulu and Pahoa craters. So what the USGHVO has said, they posted, let's see, today, they actually lowered the color code from red alert level down to orange, and they stated that at about 9:30 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time on December 20th, they stated that the volcano had erupted up in the Halemaumau Crater at the summit of Kilauea Volcano, indicating that an eruption had commenced within Kilauea Summit's caldera. Due to the presence of the water lake at the summit of Kilauea and the potential for steam-driven explosions and related hazards, HVO elevated Kilauea's volcano alert level to warning and its aviation color code to red on December 20th, as the progression of events was uncertain. Of course, they now recently lowered that to orange. The recent observations are basically an earthquake swarm beneath Kilauea Summit began around 8:30 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time on the evening of December 20th and was accompanied by ground deformation detected by the tilt meters. A bright glow and vigorous steam plume generated by the boiling water lake in Halemaumau was sequentially observed on HVO webcams beginning approximately 9:30 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time. HVO scientists responded immediately and visually confirmed from the field that lava was visible within the Halemaumau crater. The steam plume dissipated shortly thereafter. Activity over the past 10 hours has been characterized by 3 fissure vents on the north and northwest walls of the Halemaumau crater, and we're going to look at some imagery of that in here in just a moment. And fountaining lava at these vents is estimated to be up to 25 meters or 82 feet high. The vents are feeding lava flows into the base of the Halemaumau crater, which is being filled with a glowing lava lake. So yes, the water lake that began to form shortly after the end of the 2018 eruption is now gone. It has been completely boiled away and has been replaced with almost 3 times more lava than water. So where did we leave off? So yeah, so about 82 feet high, and the vents were feeding lava flows into the base of the crater, which is being filled with, of course, the growing lava lake. The lava lake has been rising approximately several meters or yards an hour since the eruption began, which was yesterday, December 20th. The current lava lake exhibits a circulating perimeter but stagnant center. And we'll show you some images of that because it's actually very interesting. The event has been accompanied by only moderate amounts of deformation, indicating deflation of a magma reservoir under Halemaumau. Rates of tilting have decreased slightly since the beginning of the eruption. Increased rates of seismicity in the summit region continue. Some of these earthquakes may be felt. A magnitude 4.4 earthquake located beneath Kilauea Summit's south flank occurred on Sunday, December 20th. That was yesterday at 10:30 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time. Yeah, I felt that one. I was at home when it happened, and I had just learned, within 5-10 minutes of that earthquake, had learned that the summit crater was erupting. So yeah, very interesting. So visitors to the Hawaii's Volcanoes National Park should note that under southerly or non-trade wind conditions, rockfalls and explosions can result in a dusting of powdery to gritty ash composed of volcanic glass and rock fragments. These ash falls represent a minor hazard, but if you're up there visiting, you should be aware that dustings of ash at areas around the Kilauea Summit are possible. So if anyone in the area is planning on going up there, keep that in mind, that if the winds change, there is potential for ash fall. And there is also, for people south of the volcano, to have to deal with some fog and potential ash fall from this current eruption now, because since the 2018 eruption came to an end and the lava lake and up at the summit and the eruption at Pahoa stopped, we have not had to deal with fog. With the return of the lava to the summit means the fog comes back with it. So, that's, I guess, the trade-offs. So that's the general information on the Kilauea Volcano update information. Now let's go take a look at some of the imagery. Let's see, what do I want to show you first? Actually, there is these two images that I want to show you first. The image here on the right is of the water lake prior to the eruption, and the three red circles here represent the locations of where the fissure vents originally erupted on the evening of the 20th. Here on the left, you can see a picture that was taken today showing two of the vent eruptions. So basically this red dot here is this one here on the left in this image, and the right red dot here is the one on the right here in this image. And it looks like that this red dot here, which was the third fissure vent, is actually down here below the surface of the lava level, because this is the area that the lake was in. So that is interesting. Now, this is something I'm actually very excited to show everybody. This is a thermal image of the Kilauea caldera water lake, and that's what we're looking here, is the nice warm water. And if you look here, this is the drop-off block, that ledge that we're so familiar seeing, and there's a couple red hot spots here. We got a little tiny one here, and then you got a little longer one here, and then some hot spots over here. Now these are known fumarole locations where steam and sulfur have been coming out of since the end of 2018. However, what I caught here was the animated loop, and we're going to move in to here, which was taken at 2100 hours Hawaii Standard Time. So that would be, 10? No, that would be 9 o'clock. And then this image was taken at 10 o'clock. And so as you can see, the first fissure vent to erupt came out of this location. So if I show you this image here, so this image here, this red dot right here, this is this eruption. So you got to kind of like turn this image 180 degrees, turn it upside down, and that would be, well, actually, I guess it would be about 90 degrees now I think about it. But yeah, so moving on through the loop, this was taken at 11 o'clock last night. And this shows where all three fissure vents finally did begin to erupt. So this one was first. I couldn't tell you which one of these two was second and third, but they were second and third, whereas this one right here was the first one. And this was the water in the lake right there flashing. So as you can see, this flows off over that ridge and down into the water lake, because this is where the water lake is located. And all this image, or all this plumage you're seeing here, is water steam, where the lake is being boiled off very quickly. I would say within an hour, which this is the 11 o'clock image, the water lake is gone. So by the time I was up there filming live last night, the water had pretty much, was gone. There's just no doubt about it. So this was at midnight on December 21st. This next thermal image shows at 1 a.m. And this is where I believe there was some form of caldera collapse area. The slope slid in, because as you can see here, coming up out of the top right-hand image and going into the middle of the image here, you see this cooler looking material and then this plume above it. So, I was doing the live last night. We had a moment where the glow went dim, but we could see this big plume of smoke and ash and everything come up out of the caldera. And that was about 1 o'clock last night, if I remember correctly. It was closer towards the second third of the to the final end of the video last night. But anyways, so we see here on the thermal image confirmation that that's potentially what happened. This is the next thermal image is at 2 o'clock, and you can see it looks like some of the activity is beginning to wind down. We've got this cooler area right here, which is probably where that sliding rock came into and settled. Moving on, we go through the loop. This is at 4 a.m. This is at 5 a.m. and you can see here that this venting area right here seems to be winding down, while the two at the extreme ends apparently still are going pretty good based on thermal image. And look how fast this lake of lava just rises. This is at 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m., noon this afternoon, 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m. Actually, no, take that back. That's 4 p.m. according to timestamp. 5 p.m. and that's the last of the image. So yeah, so let me go back. I mean, just look how fast that lake rises. So we go from 9 o'clock yesterday evening. We have the flash, and now the lake just fills up, and it's still filling. Oops. So yeah, very, very cool. Okay, finally, I want to show y'all this. This was released by the USGS as well. This is a video that they produced of one of the fountain eruptions. So this looks like the one that would be on the far left one on the thermal image that we were just looking at. And you can see as it's filling, fountaining out, flowing down the slopes of the crater down into the lava lake, because that's what it is now. Because this lava lake is now bigger, maybe 2 or 3 times bigger than the water lake was already. But you can see it's kind of keeping around the edges, there, the perimeters, and we've had the solid mass, which is pretty interesting. I just looked at the comments. Dana said it started last night at 9:30. It was around 9:30, but if I remember correctly, the first report that came out from USGS said 9:38 is when it started. And I don't know if that was reported by USGS or if that was by someone on the ground that happened to be out there, because there was people out in the park when this happened last night, because people love the park, especially after dark. So let's do this. Let's go take a look and see what the latest image is now that the sun has set. We're going to take a look at the summit. And then, ooh, look at there. Okay, first we'll take a look at the visual or visible image. Okay, this is the most current image taken at looks like 7 p.m. So 15 minutes ago, taken by the webcam. As you can see, we got the fountain here on the left and the fountain here on the right, still both going strong. And whew, I'd say it's filled this crater up about maybe 1/3, 30%, and it's happening pretty fast. So we could end up with one of the biggest crater lakes or lava lakes that I've ever seen, and that I know has probably ever been seen here for probably a couple hundred years. Who knows? But yes, current time here in Hawaii is 7:15 p.m. December 21st. Okay, now let's go back and take a look at the latest thermal image. Oh goodness, look at that. Okay. Okay, here on the thermal image, we see that this one fissure is still flowing quite strongly. Looks like this one here on the right side, we see a little bit of, looks like upboiling right there. Looks like it may have been covered up now. And wow, come this time tomorrow, we might be able to see the top of this lava from where I was standing last night. So, and I was going to go up to the summit again tonight and live stream, but I've decided I'm going to go ahead and take this evening off, but I will probably definitely go up there tomorrow. I'm still recovering from my surgery I had back in October, so I'm still not quite up to 100%, and last night did take a little bit out of me. So I guess that pretty much does it. Let's see. Yeah, so here, so yeah, actually this is a good example. Let me show you this real quick. This fissure here on the side of the crater is this one right here, just to help put this into perspective for you. These two have been pretty much swallowed up by the lava lake itself. So that is, wow, okay. Okay, so now we're going to open this up to questions and answers about what's going on. So I am going over to the comments, and we're going to take a look. So if you have any questions or anything like that, now's the time. Post them in the live chat. I have no idea what that button does, but we'll find out. Alright, so some questions about what happens if it fills up the top. Will gravity keep the lake from overflowing? Well, if it was to flow up to this next, to the next rim, it would keep flowing and overflow. Now the question is with all this lava pooling up here, it is actually perched higher in elevation compared to the lower East Drift Zone where we had the eruption in 2018. So if this magma all of a sudden decides to vanish from the caldera, then it's got to go somewhere, and it's not going to go back to where it came from. It's going to want to find its way down the mountain somehow, and that's either going to do it above ground or it's going to do it below ground. So with the earthquakes that we're seeing, and let me bring that screen back up. With the earthquakes that we're seeing, we know the eruptions occurring at the summit up here, but we do see this little trail of quakes coming down the upper East Drift Zone. So it is possible that at some point in the future that the crater lake might decide to drain out or partially drain out down the rift zone and pop up, somewhere down, Chain of Craters Road, because that is what these quakes are running down, is Chain of Craters Road. So it could, and there's a reason why Chain of Craters Road in Hawaii Volcanoes National Park is called Chain of Craters Road, because, well, it's a chain of craters and the road travels basically down them. So it could pop up anywhere down there. I don't think it would pop up anywhere east of Pu'u'o, which is Pu'u'o is over here. So I don't think that the lower east drift zone, Leilani Estates, or any of the communities are in danger. So right now, this current eruption isn't posing any potential threat to populated areas. It's pretty much confined. Well, it is actually confined to Volcanoes National Park, and the actual active lava is inside the Kilauea caldera at the bottom of the Halemaumau Crater. So that is that. Dexter's asking, is a good question. How big is this eruption compared to average volcano eruptions historically and around the world? Well, Kilauea is basically not a volcano that you judge on, its average eruption. Each eruption of Kilauea has its own characteristics. Like in 2018, prior to the eruption in the lower East Drift Zone, we had a small lava lake at the summit, where we now see all this activity occurring. And of course, Pu'u'o was erupting and flowing lava over ground down the Palis into the ocean. And it had been doing that for decades. Then one day we started seeing earthquake storms coming down the rift zone to the lower East Rift Zone. Pu'u'o's crater floor dropped out. The crater lake up at the summit began to drain, and then the summit started collapsing in on itself, and all that lava that was in the upper rift zone and at the summit come flowing out in Leilani Estates in May of 2018. So now we look at that compared to the summit eruption that we're currently having now. It's all confined right there to the summit caldera. And then if we go back and we look at 1959, Kilauea Iki was erupting there at the summit, not in this particular location, but on the other side of the caldera. And in 55, prior to that, though, we were having a lower East Rift Zone eruption. So there you go. I mean, but compared to other volcanoes, you got to remember Kilauea is a shield volcano. So shield volcanoes aren't explosively eruptive, like the stratovolcanoes like Mount St. Helens and Rainier and all these other ones that we've recently heard exploding and blowing their tops. Those are the explosive kind. So Kilauea pretty much spits, sputters, and oozes. So this eruption, I would say, compared to other summit eruptions, is a small one from what we're looking. But what makes this so unique is this eruption and this new lava lake that's forming up there is replacing a phenomena that hasn't been seen in recorded geological history up at the summit, and that is a water lake that formed. That was something new. Modern society hasn't seen, that. Modern science hasn't seen that happen here, and there's no recorded history, written history of it ever happening, that a water lake appeared at the summit. However, there are some Hawaiian stories that do apparently reference some form of water up on the mountain like this, but it's not clear whether it was a lake or whatever. At least not to me. I don't know. So yeah, so that's the thing about the Kilauea volcano is every time it erupts, it's something new and different, and we see a different side of its personality. Oh goodness. So let's see. I'm just going back and looking at the comments at this point. Actually, here's a good question. Starkey's asking, why wouldn't the same lava tubes from 2018 still be a conduit for this lava? Well, no one said that they weren't, actually. It is possible, but that they're still there and they could still transport lava. But what happened at the end of the 2018 eruption is the the fissure rate flow was going pretty well strong and steady, and the lava river was continuing. And then one day there was a noticeable decrease in the volume, and the lava river started freezing up downstream. And within 3 days, fissure rate quit erupting, lava quit coming out of it. So what that says is that somewhere up the rift zone, there was some geological change in the conduit system that basically pinched off the lava. So probably a conduit collapse in the rift zone, which is pretty standard. That happens. So it stopped the lava from coming down into the lower east rift zone, but we know it was still making it down to the middle rift zone because we still see inflation occurring down there. So we know the blockage at least got down there. So if enough lava builds up, and magma pressure underground, it's potentially possible that it could break through whatever blockage stopped the 2018 eruption in the lower east rift zone. And if it did, this would kind of parallel the 1955 rift zone eruption. Because in 1955, the lower east rift zone erupted. It stopped after about 3 or 4 months, I think it was. And then in November, December of 1959, Kilauea erupted in fountains up at the summit, which is kind of what we're seeing now. And then in 1960, January, February of 1960, there was another eruption in the lower east rift zone. Actually, here I'll show you on this map. The 1960 eruption came out down here in Pahoa and basically flooded and created this little tip on the island here. And that was in 1960. So 2018, what we've seen is pretty much parallel so far to what happened in between 1955 and 1960. In 2018, we saw a lower east rift zone eruption, which was right out here through Leilani, and 1955 eruption was through here. And then 5 years later, or almost 5 years later, we had Kilauea erupt at the summit, and then in 1960 down here. So if we use that, as an example of what is probable with this, is 2018 we saw the lower east rift zone. 2 years later, we get the eruptions up at the summit, and so that means within months there could potentially be another lower east rift zone infusion of lava. Now, that doesn't mean it actually will happen, but it is a probability. It all depends on what stopped the 2018 eruption, and has the lava in the subterranean area of the rift zone cooled enough to create some type of plug that can basically a lava dike that can hold back any fresh lava. We don't know. What will tell us if there's any magmatic movement is to watch the earthquakes. If we see a cluster of quakes start moving down the rift zone out here towards this point, then we know that there's a magmatic movement through the lava tubes in the rift zone. So there, I hope that answers that, Rob. Kind of a long way to get to the answer, but yeah. Captain BT is asking, was all the water turned to steam or possibly pushed into crater wall cracks? I would say it was all turned to steam. If we go back here to this thermal image, I'll show you right here. This is before the eruption. There's the water lake. Now the first eruption is going to come from this area right here. See these two little orange dots right here? This next image is pretty cool. Boom. It's almost like it opened up like a zipper and the lava started flowing. So this is lava flowing down into the crater lake, and all this that you see here on the clouds, this is all the water steam where the lake is being boiled off. So yeah, so to answer your question, no, it was boiled off. And there's been I've actually been asked by other people, and I've seen questions elsewhere, how is the lower east drift zone faring? Is there any activity? And I think when I pointed out the earthquake stuff, that we see no earthquake activity down here in the lower east drift zone. So basically there's no activity, there's no temperature increase at this point. We would see an earthquake storm travel down the rift zone before we would see any temperature increase or any other activity like that. The fresh magma has got to get down here. So the lower east drift zone is still in its cooling period. Now whether that changes over the next few days or next few months, we just have to wait and see. Oh, good question, Eddie. What will happen once the lava lake reaches the vents that are providing the lava to the lake? Nothing. What's going to govern this is how much magma and how much pressure is in the shallow storage system at this point. As long as the lava keeps erupting, whether it's below the surface of the lava lake or not, it will keep erupting. And the lava lake will keep growing in size. Now we do know that it can act almost like, I don't even know what to call the device, but it's one of those little devices, you know, it's got the little bubble of water in it. You see them on you know, coffee pots, like, at hotels and stuff, lets you know how much coffee is actually still in there. Well, that's what, we saw the Crater Lake prior 2018 eruption do, is it would go up and down in level, and that would indicate how much magma was entering or leaving the crater system. But Pahoa was acting kind of as a side vent for that. So when we'd see, more eruption at Pahoa, we'd see the level of the crater lake at the summit drop. But when we see activity at Pahoa decrease, we'd see the level go up at the summit. So basically, right now, we just have the summit activity. There is no Pahoa or anything like that. So the lake should continue to grow until either one of two things happen. One, the pressure that's pushing the magma up into the crater at this point gets exhausted, and the pressure from the weight of the lava is greater than the pressure in the magma chamber. Or two, the lava finds somewhere else to travel to, whether it be through underground conduits or across the surface. So, okay, one thing I did last night is I was very curious because I noticed we had a lot of watchers. So basically, what I want to do is I want to invite everybody that's watching, chime in the comments below. Let me know where you're from. Last night we had people from everywhere. I think every country on the planet that has access to YouTube was represented. So yeah, so let us know in the chat where you're from while I go through and I read over some of these other potential questions. You know what? Let's see. MindLab is asking, is there any live helicopter footage? Actually, yes, there is. And I will show you. Is this it? Oh, no, that's not the one. Okay, here we go. Yeah, actually, thanks for asking that question. I had totally forgot about this other video I wanted to show you of the helicopter overflight. This was taken this afternoon. So as you can see here in the middle, actually let me go back and we'll pause this. All right, so if you see, we got the two main fissure vents over here, and then we had that third one that was down here in the middle. It's basically quit erupting, or it's been fully covered. This one in the latest images that we were looking at being the only one flowing is this, and look how wide that is. That's amazing. Wow, so yeah, we got people from all over again tonight. So yeah, welcome to everybody. Is the recent earthquake today near Pahala indicative of a possible eruption at Loihi? Matthew is asking. No, Matthew. Actually, the earthquakes that we see down in the Pahala area are being attributed to, and so for everybody else, what he's asking is down here, this area. And just to kind of give you, I'll show you the last week. So this is the Pahala area earthquakes, and that's for the last week. And for the last month, this is how many earthquakes were down there. So what we're seeing here is most of these earthquakes are being contributed, especially the ones here on the east side, to the slippage of basically the southern fault line. That basically the south flank of Kilauea is sliding towards the ocean at an elevated rate compared to what it was prior to the 2018 eruption. So this is the area that's pretty much sliding, so we see constant earthquakes there. But it is also believed that it is possible that under Pahala, which is more to the west half of these quakes, could possibly represent the magma plume coming from deep down under the crust that feeds the Hawaii volcanic systems. But I don't know how accurate that information is. I have seen something on USGS talking about it as a potential possibility, but it's not fully understood where that column of rising magma is, or even if it is a rising column, and where it does enter. But that's Pahala area is the suspected location of such a thing at this point. But Loihi, if we look out here at Loihi, here is actually the summit of Loihi. So we see very few quakes. Now we do see some quakes here, but these quakes are going down the continuation of the southern rift zone off of Kilauea, which does ultimately go offshore and into the ocean a little bit. But this is Loihi here, and pretty much quiet there for the last month. There's only one little quake over here on the side, which was a 1.9, and it was 20.4 miles deep. So no Loihi action at this point. Kat said that someone else basically said that the third was still erupting. It's possible. I can't tell. And I don't think anyone can say for certain whether it actually is or isn't, because we just don't have the imagery. We can't see underneath the lava. But it probably is. But looking at the videos, see, I take that back. Because looking at the imagery, where is that other one? Because if you look here at this imagery here, and using this location compared to the level of the lava on the side here, and then over here where it's spilled out onto this flat section, this third eruption zone is right here. And let me zoom in. Hold on. Now I'm curious. I want to know. Okay, actually, I'll tell you right now, no, it is not erupting, because that's it right there. Oops, darn it. Sorry about that, everybody. Let me go back to where I was. Ha. Okay, now zoom in and slide over. There we go. So you can see right here, this is where the third fountain area was erupting. It's very clear that that's a vent hole right there with the lava flowing down, blah, blah, blah. So no, it is not erupting. So this third dot right here is no longer erupting compared to this video, or this footage, and this was taken this afternoon. Now, it's potentially possible the evening footage may show that it started up again. But at this point, there looks like it's only these two, this one here and this one here, that is still erupting, with this one being the one with the greatest, the greatest output, and this one potentially being under the surface of the lava lake at this point. But that's all speculation and opinion on my part. So now, let me reset. There we go. Oops. That's where they're going to make things so difficult sometimes. Okay. So yeah, interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Okay. What else? Anything else? Is Kilauea still erupting? Loaded Banana Mobile asks. Yes, Kilauea is still erupting. So let's actually go find out what the latest imagery is. Let's see. This is going to be the latest thermal. Getting a good refresh. So it looks like we got a new image. Okay, this one was taken at 7:18 Hawaii Standard Time. So that was about 20 minutes ago. So we see this one still high vent, still erupting. We see this bright little white spot here. So this is probably the other major vent. And that third one, which is way down here under, is probably not erupting anymore at all. And now let me see if I can find the other screen I'm looking for. Oh, this is it right here. Okay, and this image was taken at 7:22 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time. So yeah, so there's still definitely two fissure vents erupting into the crater. So that'll pretty much do it though. Yes, Kat, I know who Philip is actually. And I'm not saying that he's wrong, but I'm not saying he's necessarily right either. Because I've been following these images, you know, every time they're updated all day long. And what I just looked in that one image is that middle vent is no longer erupting. We saw it right there clear as day. So anyways, beside the point, this is just a general information, and I covered the USGS, you know, what was the official data, and everything after that is usually just based on my supposition and opinion, based on my interpretation of the information. So, let's see. Oh, that's actually a good question. Shirazinima, I think is how you pronounce that one. I'm not real sure. Great name, though. What volume of magma can the crater hold now in comparison to the size of the crater prior to the collapse? Oh, that's a good question. Well, the size of the crater is the only limitation, I would guess. And of course, the underground, you know, geology. If there's any fractures or cracks or weak spots, you know, it's like a bathtub of water. You know, if you take, well, actually, let's go beyond a bathtub of water. Let's take, you know, anything that you can poke small holes into and fill it up full of water, and then start poking little tiny holes in it. You know, the water's going to come out those little tiny holes. So magma is going to want to pretty much do the same thing. You know, it's going to find the path of least resistance to flow towards the, you know, center of gravity. In other words, downhill. So if the lava finds any side areas within the crater summit that it's weak and that it can exploit, you know, in order to travel downhill, just like water would, that's, you know, what you can kind of expect. I don't think that's going to happen here. Historically, what I've seen with the lava lakes at the summit is they get to a certain height and then they're able to press out, and we get side vents, you know, like Mauna Ulu, Pu'u'o, you know, and a whole list of others going down through the history that act as a level control for, you know, the crater lakes, because it seems, you know, the summit crater plumbing system for the magma is connected to the East Rift Zone very prominently. because most eruptions have been through that conduit pathway versus the southern one. Most recent ones anyways. So the witness, what you're looking at right now on the screen, that was taken at 7:22 p.m. this evening. So that was 20 something plus minutes ago. That's the most current image that I have available to me. Eddie, good question. Will the lava lake, if it fully fills, will it contain more lava than the previous lava lake before? When it comes to visible surface area, absolutely. Actually, right now, if I am correct, I could be wrong on this because I'm not actually basing it on any actual measurements I have. It's just what I remember visually. I would say right now the surface of this lava lake is at least 2, potentially 3 times larger than the surface of the pre-2018 eruption lava lake that we had up at the Kilauea summit. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go quiet on everybody. I just got into reading into the comments, trying to catch up on what y'all are talking about. Oh, looks like we've got a new subscriber to the channel. Yeah, so if y'all want notifications for more updates, don't forget you got to subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed already, and click that bell icon and select all notifications. That way you get notified when I go live and post other videos and stuff. Because I pretty much cover all kinds of things here in Hawaii. This channel isn't fully dedicated just to the volcanoes. It's dedicated to adventures in Hawaii, other things to see. However, the volcanoes do tend to dominate the topic of conversation, especially in the last few years. Also, don't forget to hit that like button, show it some aloha. That way I know y'all enjoy these type of things as well. And don't forget to check the links in the video description below. I have some great merch available. And if you want to help support the channel financially, there's a donation link there that you can use as well. So I do believe that's going to wrap it up. There really isn't anything more to say that hasn't been said. It looks like most of the general questions have been answered. And yes, whoever's talking politics, no politics, please. Okay, this image, I just refreshed the screen before I get ready to close down the stream here. This was taken at 7:44 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time, which was 3 minutes ago. So this is the most recent image available from the HVO webcams staring down into the crater lake. So actually, you know what? I want to go look at the thermal image real quick also before I bring this stream to a close. Because it should have been updated as well by now. Okay, this thermal image looks like it was taken at 7:38 p.m. Let's get the bigger image. Okay, there we go. So yeah, so looking at the thermal image, from what we can see in this image, there is still definitely 2 areas of magma influx where lava is flowing into this newly forming lava lake up at the summit of Kilauea in the bottom of Halemaumau Crater. We have this one right here, and we have another one which is under the surface, and you can see it right here. At least this is where lava is welling up. So yes, so that is definitely an area of influx of fresh lava. But I only see evidence of the 2 at this point. So yeah, so here's the visual at 7:44, and here is the thermal taken just a few minutes prior. Oh yeah, there. So there you go, everybody. Ooh. Wolfie's asking a good question. How often does it erupt anyways in a year? Well, the last eruption was in 2018. So we haven't seen any active lava on the island in just over 2 years and a month, I think it's been. And prior to that, though, there was still an eruption happening prior to 2018, but it was at Pahoa, and that had went on for, what, 34 years? But before that, it had been 2 decades, I think, or something like that. So yeah, so there's no rhyme or reason, you know, when it comes to every year or every couple years or whatever. So it's just one of those things. You gotta stay tuned in to find out whether it is or it isn't. Okay, everybody. We will talk to you later. I guess that covers it. Yeah, so I think that does it. Don't forget to check out my my merch. I got some great face masks, both on Redbubble. Also got Teespring, which you'll find here in the merch shelf underneath the video. Don't forget to hit the like button, click the subscribe and bell icon, of course. And as always, you have an absolutely amazing morning, afternoon, or evening.